Back to Barnstable this morning. Sarah Colvin joining you on this Friday morning. And as we do each and every Friday, we like to take a look inside the arts and culture world here in Barnstable. This week, I got a chance to sit down with Seth Rolbein, who is known right now in his current position as a senior advisor to Senator Dan Wolf, of course, also a guest here on Barnstable this morning. He's been a writer, a journalist, and he's a musician as well. Recently put on a cool show at the Payamet Performing Arts Center up in Truro. I sat down with him to talk about his music. Let's go now to today's Arts and Culture segment. Good morning. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Arts and Culture segment here on Barnstable this morning. I'm Sarah Colvin, and we are at the Hyannis Harbor Arts Center at the Geyer Barn with Seth Rolbein. And Seth, we usually talk to you as a senior advisor to Senator Dan Wolf, but in addition to being very active in the world of politics, you're also very active in the arts and culture world here on Cape Cod. I had no idea. I mean, I knew you were a writer and have been an interviewer, a news person, but the music I did not know about. So tell me a little bit about the musical side of Seth Rolbein.
Well, it's not my day job. We know that for sure. But really, what I've been playing music my whole life. Started off as a young kid, as a piano player, and then became a guitar player, and pretended to be a rock and roll player in school and stuff like that. My very dear friend Kevin Rice runs the Payamet Performing Arts Center up in Truro, which is a great venue and a wonderful community asset. And about 3 years ago, he asked me if I would do a little performance there. Just a kind of, conversation, some music and stuff like that. And I said, sure. And it would be a benefit, of course, for Payamet. And the idea turned into a living room, Seth's living room. So we sort of transformed the stage into the living room. Ellen was with me, coming back and forth. We were hanging out, and the audience as if they were just guests.
I really like the concept because, so often you have someone who plays music, which is great. You just have the person come up, do a few songs, maybe they'll have someone join them on singing or perhaps some other instruments. But really the concept of a living room, when I read the article in the paper, I was like, wow, that is really kind of interesting. So where did this kind of idea come from?
It came from mainly the thought that if I was going to try to do a night's performance, I probably couldn't pull it off entirely with music. Much as I love to play, and I have, certain stuff that I love to do. So I thought, well, there could be conversation, there could be music, I could get guests up, I could get friends to stop by, quote unquote.
Knock on the door,
yeah,
hey Seth, what are you doing?
And that actually happened. And in fact, when we did it this last time, Ellen and a bunch of our friends who would typically stop by, we set up a little kitchen on stage.
Oh, that's great.
So they were cooking away while I was doing my thing, and we started handing out food to the audience. And that whole notion, I guess in theater they talk about the fourth wall, the three walls being around the stage, but
sure.
The fourth wall being between you and the audience, the invisible wall. It just broke down. I was able to actually talk to people who were in the audience who I knew as if they were around and ask people stuff and bring people up. It varied it and it made it relaxed.
So in essence, they are also guests in your living room.
Yeah, the conceit was everybody stopped by. In fact, I had Kevin, come up to say hi and talk about a few things. And I said to him, what's going on at Payamet tonight? Because the idea, of course, was that
you're in your living room and not at Payamet.
Right.
So did that trip him up at all? Was he able to say, oh, we're having Seth's living room? Or
He's a really experienced guy, so he just found a way to be making fun of me. So, and then we broke it down into little segments so that, each segment had a song related to a topic, and the topics were topics that, were all over the place. So it made it informal, and it gave me a less intimidating way to go about trying to share some thoughts with the community.
Exactly, because it can be a little nerve-wracking to sit up there with your guitar, and then you have to put a set list together. So to be able to kind of mix it up. And now, did you have specific things you wanted to do at specific times? You're like, okay, well maybe I'll do a little of this, maybe I'll do a little of that, and kind of see what happens.
I set up a sequence, and then we had this thing. Ellen's an artist, my better half. So she created these almost like little signposts. I joked, it's almost like when you go to a boxing match and the woman walks by round 3.
Sure, with the card up.
Right. She didn't do that, she wouldn't do that. But she made these little things so that we had like 7 or 8 sort of little chapters. And the chapters, some of them were from, as you know, I've done a lot of journalism and documentary work in my time. So it was everything from, showing a documentary I did, a piece of it from Vietnam 25 years ago, to talking some about politics, talking about some personal stuff that's happened in our lives in the last year, and bringing up guests. So each one was, but within each one there was a fair amount of just kind of improvisation.
Absolutely. Did you get a chance to talk with the audience after the show and get some reaction from them?
Yeah, I did.
What did they think?
Everybody was asleep. No. I
don't think that's the case.
That's not really true. No, it was really very nice. And in fact, people called me up for an encore, which kind of threw me because I didn't have one planned, but I was able to do that. And the thing that I loved was that people felt that the conceit worked. I was nervous that it would just feel sort of hodgepodge or kind of very unprofessional, but people felt as though it actually worked.
They felt welcomed into your living room.
Yeah, it was a big crowd. It was really nice. There were over 100 people
there. That's
there.
Excellent.
Yeah, on a cool Saturday night that was windy.
Way out there in the faraway lands of Truro.
Abandoned military base of Truro, at the edge of all things.
Beautiful location, absolutely spectacular.
So
after the success of this recent Seth's Living Room, do you plan on kind of reviving it elsewhere? I think maybe right here at the Hyannis Harbor Arts Center?
No, I'm planning to go on tour. I'll be doing
Hollywood.
I'll be doing New York next,
Great.
Then straight to Miami, over to LA. No, this is really a celebration with Payamet, and it's something that I did once before, like about 3 years ago, and this time I felt really good about it. I don't see it becoming a staple in my life.
But just something fun to do every now and then.
Something fun to do, and you know how we all are multifaceted, and it's one of the beauties of the Cape. I mean, so many of us have so many different talents, and we're here in part because it's so creative and interesting community that we all are a part of. And so to just sort of allow that to play out every once in a while is a really good thing, but to overdo it, I don't think so.
Exactly. Well, I think you're right, though. There are so many people here on Cape Cod, and I think that's why either we're drawn to the area or we experience it growing up, that do have those multifaceted things. And whether you are a straight professional in your life and then you've got music or art on the side, I think we find that there are many people like that here on the Cape, and it's wonderful to be able to showcase that.
It's such a great strength for the community. It just means that none of us are pigeonholed. And I love that. I love that about the Cape and the islands.
Absolutely. Well, Seth, thank you so much for stopping by and sharing with us a little bit about your artistic side. We appreciate it.
Thank you. You'll be pleased to know I did not bring my guitar.
I'm actually kind of bummed out. I would like to hear you play it for sure, but then I think Melissa might force me to do it too, so that's not going to happen.
There you go. Duets.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe someday in the future. Well, Seth, again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
With today's Arts and Culture segment, I'm Sarah Colvin with Seth Rolbein. Good morning.